Welcome to another edition of Build It with Bob. I am Bob. Let's go ahead and take another look at a broken switch. This one today is a working switch. Actually, this one actually has a line, as you'll see, this blue line that comes up through the screen. Never seen one of these before. It's interesting. Yeah, there it is, all the way across. It works. Everything about the console works as far as I can tell, and it's in really nice shape too. I mean, look at this. Other than my stupid sweaty hands, this thing is like perfect from what I can tell. So the only thing that I can think of, well, there's two things. One, defective screen, which is possible. Two, water damage. It's possible that there's a little bit of liquid that got in here that is on that connector. So what I'm going to do is open it, obviously, and I'm going to take a look at the connector. If the connector's good, you hate to replace a screen for something that's just like that, you know what I mean? It's not like it's in that bad a shape, but obviously it's not worth as much because it has an issue, even though the console works just fine. So we should probably replace the screen. All right, hitting it didn't work. Dropping it, throwing it, none of that worked. Just kidding. All right, let's pull this thing apart. Screw it. Man. Wow, that is like ridiculous how tight that was. Case is coming off. Looks pretty clean. No signs of water intrusion. But we're only one layer deep. Let's go 2 layers deep. Doesn't look like it's been opened either. None of the screws appear to be touched, so that's good. It might just be a faulty screen. Yep. Doesn't appear to be opened, although there's some like crap on there. There's no water intrusion. Let's get a little closer look here. The water sensor is good. There's no liquid that I can tell. Probably turn it off, huh? We'll pull that. Yeah, never work on your console when it's on. You don't want to short something. Yeah, maybe not. Well, let's just dig into it. We got to replace, or at least pull the screen out, I would think. So we'll take out our bolts for game cartridge. God, I keep calling them bolts. The distinction between a bolt and the screw, without looking up the definition. A screw, in most cases, I would say is self-tapping. I don't think it has to be self-tapping, but a bolt has flanges, which it can use to create clamp load. Well, screws can do the same. You have the ability of putting a bolt on the backside, I suppose. That's the distinction. That's an interesting one. Give me a second here and I'll look it up, because oh my god, that would help. Jeez. No, this doesn't have any water damage. This thing is clean as can be. This is a case of a bad screen, I think. let's do this. I'm going to remove the connector, or the connector cable. See if there's any damage to it. Doesn't appear there's any damage. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to reconnect it. And see if that makes any difference at all. I wouldn't anticipate it would, but you never know until you try. Careful. Okay. Screen is back in. That is back on. Probably going to throw a fault because yeah, we still got the green line. Oh, didn't set any faults. I would have thought we would have because we're missing our game cartridge, but nope, we still have. Oh, and it's the touchscreen pass-through, obviously, as well. Shoot. So this video is going to work for both of how to replace the LCD and how to replace the Digitizer if you decided you need to do that. So like for instance, this console, you can see it's got a ton of chips on the top. Honestly, I'm going to take the back off. I'm going to leave the board in, so you won't remove any of these screws. You'll just pull this board out, and then you'll see what I'll do is I'll just heat up the surrounding area and pull the Digitizer off, but I won't take the LCD out. And how that applies to me making a video about changing the backlight. Y'all are super lazy. Okay. So, for this part, we are going to remove this because this is just going to melt. Nope, that is actually a scratch in the screen. That is not going to come out. No problem. The screen's actually in pretty good shape. It's a little dirty now from this rag. It's not really a lint-free rag. It's a cheap AutoZone lint-free rag, which is not a lint-free rag. If you want good microfibers, the rag company. They're expensive, but they make really good rags because, as their name states, they are a company which sells rags, and that's all they sell. So obviously they got to be good at it, right? I guess that's not necessarily true, because then you get to stuff like those auto wash places where you drive your car through and they scratch the crap out of your paint. I'm getting off topic here. Let's just take this stupid screen out, hey? So I am using on my heat gun here, it's 120 Celsius, which is pretty hot. I wouldn't recommend going this hot. However, if you're quick with your motions, you don't let it sit for very long, you won't damage anything. These screens will melt. They're not made from glass. They're made from some sort of like polycarbonate, which does melt. It has a melting point, which apparently is like whatever 120 Celsius is to Fahrenheit. It's like 270 degrees or something. I don't know. That's 250. It's close. So, and I mean, it's really not great for your LCD too, honestly. I mean, I have done some damage to LCDs with too much heat. One time I turned the heat gun on trying to take a screen off, and I left it on like 400 Celsius. Yeah, I melted some stuff. That was expensive. So don't do that. Don't be me. And you can use your finger to kind of tell how hot it is. So where you want to start, let me see if you guys can see this. I got this stupid cord in the way. Sorry about that. as it literally goes right back. So you want to start in this corner prying because there's a little hole for the speaker, and that's where you're going to shove a tool in. Once I get this warmed up a little bit more, I'll show you where the tool is. But this is where your screen connectors are, so you got to be careful on this side. You want to start prying from over here, and you don't want to push the tool under too much. You can damage the LCD. In this case, it doesn't matter, it's already broken, but also you don't want to stress crack the screen, the digitizer, too much. So I'll show you what I do. The more heat, the better, honestly, and realistically, you could just put this in the oven. You'd probably want to put it on like 100 Fahrenheit and just let it sit for 5 minutes. I think 100 Fahrenheit would be okay if an oven even goes that low. Honestly, I don't think it does. But you can just experiment, and they do sell like little rags that you can, like they're like the bean things that you can put in the oven or in the microwave with a little bit of water on them. Just turn it into steam. You boil the water on them, and they get pretty hot, and they will melt. It takes a while, but there's videos out there of people doing it. Just search for that. I don't know what it's called. It's like an iFixit rag, screen removal rag or bean thing. I don't know. Okay, so this is pretty hot. I think that is sufficient for now. So I've actually never used this tool before. We're going to try it. Nope, that's not going to do it. So I got this little metal one. Okay, so you just put that in there like so, and then you can use picks. Guitar picks work, and you just drag down like that, leave it in. Do the same thing over here. And you can see it's kind of stress cracking because I'm using this pick instead of this one. This one's actually too thick, so just be careful. Yeah, it needs more heat. If you're struggling like that, just do like I did. Give it more heat, and it will literally peel up as you're heating it. You can hear it popping. The adhesive is melting. It's kind of funny. Okay. Ah, shoot. Just burned myself. You see how much easier that is? Okay, there we are. And just carefully do this, bend it up like so. And I got lucky the adhesive stayed on the tablet, so I don't have to reapply it. You can if you want to. It's probably advised to do so because it will stick better with new adhesive, but I have had good success with the old adhesive, so that's what I'm going to do. Got me up all night. Okay, so digitizer and screen are usually going to be stuck together like so, and they do that because it's easier to position the screen when it's on here than it is to do it in there, but do what you want. Okay, so I'm going to remove that. I'm going to be very careful not to touch this for obvious reasons. When you have your console torn down, you have your old LCD out, you're going to get your new one. The best way that I've found to do this is to start by aligning these two. So you're going to actually install your LCD onto your digitizer. Now, the easiest way to do that is to actually line it up down here. So you align it like so. That looks okay. Cool. So place that on there, and then carefully press that into place. All right, now what you're going to want to do, I'm going to spin it around. So this is where all of your cables go through. What you do is install this first, right? And then you're going to go ahead and flip it over. And then you're going to carefully slip your Digitizer cable through as well. And then your backlight connector. So we're just going to go ahead and grab it and pull it through. Alright, and then once you have that cable through there, which is kind of an annoyance, you're just going to go ahead and align the screen, or rather the Digitizer, and everything kind of just drops into place. Such a pretty straight through process. Now you have your LCD, you have your touchscreen Digitizer and game card reader thing, and you have your backlight connector, which is giving us a little bit of problem, but it's okay. All right, and now we can go ahead and assemble it. I'm sure this battery is probably toast. Toast as in dead. Not toast as in like bread, because that would be weird. Although bread does sound pretty good right now. Just kidding. Oh, come on. Alright. So I have seen these cables run all different types of ways and kind of all wrong. And when I mean these cables, I mean this white cable runs under here, as you see it there. It literally does that. That's it. And this runs under the board, and it comes out of that slot there. That way it can wrap around up on top here. And the order which you do this is irrelevant. I like to put a couple screws in first, depending on the day, the time, the moon, location, etc. Doesn't matter. You do what works for you, and that's all that matters. Screw all those other people. No, but seriously, do what you want, you know? Don't let anybody else dictate your life. It's silly to do something you don't like for the sake of doing something. You might as well do nothing at all, you know? That's how I think about it. Yet I work at a job that I don't like. It's a different conversation. Alright, so board's in. These are a little tricky. They're ribbon cables for the LCD, so what I just did, I don't know if you can see, maybe you didn't. So I put like a little bend in it. You just bend it like that. You do that, and then you kind of just, I'm going to try and do it while holding it. Nope, I'm not going to do that because I'm going to damage it while I try. You kind of just push it down, and if you bend it like that, the chances of you damaging something are very low. You kind of just slide it in. So if you bend it, it pushes it down in the slot, and that's less likely to hit one of the pins and bend it down. The bottom pins are very hard to damage. I have done it. Don't you worry, I've done it. However, it's much harder to damage the bottom pins. So if you bend it down, you're angling it like, I don't know, let's say this is a pin, right? This is a pin on top here. Yeah, perfect analogy with these two things. This is a pin on the top, this is a pin on the bottom. Here's the cable. If you put it in like this, it's very likely that you're gonna miss and you're gonna push a pin down on top. If you bend it like this, you're actually going in like that, because these are sitting flush on the bottom. So you're going in like this, and then it kind of levels out and pushes itself in. That's the key. So give it a little bend. The rest of the connectors are all very straightforward. I honestly wouldn't worry about them at all. You can do whatever you want to them, and you won't damage them. If you do, uh-oh, I never latched that one. Getting carried away talking here. If you do, I'm not liable. Just kidding. I mean, yeah, use some general sense, right? Like, don't do something stupid, and like, don't be pulling on connectors when they're not unlatched. Don't do something stupid. Just like take your time, be patient, and everything will work out just fine. Like that. So the process is put the fan back in, put the bolts in, at least this bolt. It's not a bolt, it's a screw, but never mind. Put that one screw back in here, and then you can go ahead and slap this bad boy back in, latch it. Okay, it's in place. Now we can put in our bolts for this. These are all the silver ones on top. You put one in here, and then, Jesus, you put this guy here with 2 silver bolts. The silver bolts go in the accessories, so like things that are not the main board. The exception, and it makes sense, is the USB-C because it's an accessory. It's not on the main board. Main board all gets black, and I think because they're phosphate coated, they do not conduct through the board. And obviously the board itself is like a cast aluminum, a die-cast aluminum piece. You're just grounding it to the board. So they use the phosphate coated or black coated bolts for electrical conductivity purposes. And I don't need any more for some reason. I might have grabbed one from the wrong pile. So go ahead and put these in. Okay, so we got 2 here, we got 1 there, we got 1 here. There's 1 under this cable, which is why I told you to put that screw in, this screw, and then this connector. We have to screw down our 3 fan screws. We got to screw our fan. Use your tip, put it in the fan, and tighten it down. Now, let's put in the heatsink with new thermal paste, which I am almost out of, so that's good. I keep forgetting to order new stuff. Okay, good enough. I did bend this heatsink, but as long as it's still connected. Dang it, that's stupid. Oh well. Okay. Put up. Oh, we're like out. Put a blob in the middle. How much thermal paste do I apply? They ask. Honestly, a dot like that is enough. You can put more. You wouldn't want to put less, but you could put more if you want. Honestly, more is not going to hurt. The only thing that's going to happen is when you tighten these down, it's all going to squish out the sides. So if you're using more, you're actually wasting. So just apply a liberal amount. That's what I'll say. Apply what you think is right. If it overheats, then you take it apart and you put more on it. More on it. These things have thermal protection, right? So They will overheat, but you're not going to damage the console in the process. The thing is not going to like bake itself alive. It's going to shut itself off, and it's going to say, hey, moron, you fucking didn't put enough thermal paste on me. Why don't you put some more on? And you're going to all be like, yeah, bro, console bro, let's do it. Anyway, I shouldn't have put this all back together without testing it, but I'm fairly confident that this screen works, and if it doesn't, I'm gonna be really upset. I should have checked it. That was stupid. But we're already into her for all she's got, so let's go ahead and just chooch it on up. And what do you guys think? Is it gonna work? I don't know. Plugged it in. Battery voltage is currently very low, so we got backlight. You can probably not see that, but we have backlight and we have screen. Cool. And that's how you change that out. Now I'm gonna go ahead and reassemble the whole back. I'm gonna end the video here because I don't think you need to see me reassembling everything here, but if I find something when this thing turns on, I'll show you that. If you don't see anything, everything went well. Thanks for watching. See you next time.